This conference will now be recorded.
I don't think our speakers are working now.
Yeah, we can't hear anybody.
Don't make to say something. Microphone's on.
Mic is on.
Oh, you know what? I know why, because we went to the other set of speakers.
Didn't do it.
It's supposed to be the. This one.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for putting up with us. We had to restart the computer. We've called the meeting to order. We've approved the minutes. We're at public concerns. We have Richard here wondering about a concept plan.
You're on.
We're back to you.
Oh. Okay, start over, huh?
No, I don't think so. I guess for what we know right now, it's probably doable.
Mark, you don't happen to have the plan for the North Star area? Nick doesn't have
Yeah.
access to bring it up.
Nick, do you have access to that conceptual business park development plan that you might be able to bring up on screen?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's in the reference maps folder under 1218.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, you can
So
share that.
I'll make you a presenter then.
Perfect.
So as he's bringing that up, this is very, very interesting stuff because it ties into a conceptual plan that we've developed with the town. I'm the town's planner, and we've developed with the town to build this into a bigger business park.
Okay.
And so what we've got it now up on screen. Your parcel is towards the north, east corner of this
corner
where North Star Road bends and becomes a east-west street.
Yeah. Mhm.
So as you can see, the broad concept is that this will have a lot of businesses in it. So someone said there's going to be a lot of traffic, and I think that's sort of the idea here. This particular site, we have just a couple of ideas for. One of them is that there is a grove of trees. I don't know about the quality of the trees, but to the extent that the plan can be crafted to maximize preservation or minimize the amount of trees that get knocked down would be nice. That's the grove you see there in green.
Well, we looked at that. I think there's only one good tree in there.
Okay.
It's just all scrub trees. I
Yeah,
wanted
very good.
to keep that and sell it as a wooded lot. We looked at it now. There's nothing in there.
All right, fair enough. That's good to know.
It's mostly box elder.
Yes, that's all, yes.
The second concept that we have here, you can see it in several places, is, where does the outdoor storage go? We're likely to have some uses that, desire outdoor storage yards, contractor shops, landscapers, things of that nature.
Mhm.
So the intent was to identify parts of this North Star Road area that don't have those uses front and center,
Mhm.
but rather have them sort of to the back.
Yes, yep.
So that's that brown area you see there on the map. And then the third idea, we just had a couple of ideas for building placements, not anything cast in stone. I will say that, there's two philosophies to subdividing this and type of property. Dan probably knows about this as well. One philosophy is you create a number of lots like you've shown here to show people what's possible. They might want 2 lots, they might want 4 lots,
Mhm.
they might want to reconfigure lots, and then you come back with a certified survey map to redivide. That's one approach. The second approach is you just create giant lots with the full understanding that you're going to have to redivide. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's one better approach or the other, but I think you said as much as that we're unlikely to have, in the end, 18 separate lots. It's more likely to be quite a bit fewer
Mhm.
once kind of people get what they want. out of it. Someone wants 3 acres, someone wants 5, someone might want 1.5 acres.
Yeah, right. People, one person asked, he needs a lot really bad to store his food trucks in each over the winter. Small, that'd be an acre lot at the most for
Right.
food trucks.
The only other concept we have on here and something that would have to be accommodated is you see the blue area in the northeast corner of the site. You know, at some location, and that's a, you know, relatively low ground based on my, you know, very initial analysis for a stormwater basin. So not all of this land is going to be able to be subdivided as shown. There's going to need to be a stormwater lot set aside.
Yep.
But the idea that, you know, in order to get the highest and best use of this entire area is that we're going to need to have some town roads. You got, you know, it's on that philosophy is you got to spend money to get money. Sometimes you have to enable town roads to get deeper onto sites to enable higher value development to occur. You know, we didn't have a road network per se shown here, but the concept is correct. And we do have the idea of roads kind of crisscrossing the area, certainly west of North Star Road, extending all the way back to N, which I know the town has talked to those property owners about. So, you know, thanks, Nick, for putting this up. This is a concept plan that we have right now. And during our comprehensive planning process, which is the primary reason I'm here tonight, we're going to have an opportunity to tweak and refine and share this map ultimately included in the comprehensive plan update.
So what are you thinking about this number of road A you got there, which is up by my buildings? You know, you got a lot of neighbors there, and I don't think they'd be too happy about commercial development in there, would they? You know, you got neighbors down below, you got neighbors up above.
Road A?
Yeah, this is one right there. Here's my buildings there.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple things going on there. Again, it provides some depth to the site so you can get multiple businesses, just kind of like you've done with this concept plan further north. Also, we know, or we believe that the DOT might have an interest in closing the access further east where the single family houses are. So being able, then their likely outlet for those folks would be to shoot them to North Star Road where they do not intend to close access.
Oh, okay.
So
I see I know what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah, so that would be the way in and out for everyone, you know, the extraction site to the extent it's still going on and those folks that live along the road down there.
So I know up there in the newest development, the commercial up there on Reiner Road, they got residential businesses where the people live upstairs. Have you seen those in there?
Yeah,
Right. What's your thought on that?
probably not for this area. I think we want to, the number of people that live there and want to stay there, God bless them, but we don't want to introduce more housing because the types of businesses we'd expect here would be loud, you know, have trucking, have outdoor operations, and you know, that's not the kind of mixed use that really makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Because I was trying to put a barnuminium community up. Morton buildings, but I just didn't know where you were at on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it for this location for housing.
Okay. So just make that another commercial after the bottom one gets filled up. Then go to the next one if it ever happens. Okay.
But that, you know, that precise location of that road A, these are all concepts.
Yeah.
You know, it's really the idea and the actual details get kind of fleshed out. Just like, you know, the details of the woods, you know, I didn't know that those woods were, you know, mostly junk, but we get into a more detailed process on a site-by-site basis and that gets fleshed out a little bit more.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
So I can just, my next thing is to go to the county get a plan together with an engineer and take it to the county. What's the next step? We come here,
well, when you would have a plan that
engineered plan.
where you're ready to rezone it to a specific business, then you would apply at the county and then you would apply here for the rezone.
Or both of you, county first or you first?
Yeah, because they take you longer to get you on their agenda, whereas we get you on much quicker.
Okay. But I'll meet with them first, then meet with you second. If they approve it, then it's up to you.
No,
No.
we'll see
you-
it first before the county does.
Okay.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
apply there because they're probably 2 months out before they're going to
Okay.
get you on an agenda to hear it. Whereas you apply there and then the same day you can come here
Okay.
and apply and we'll probably hear you within a month.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And then they have our answer when they have their meeting.
But my next plan has been engineered plan, which shows where the water retention ponds and everything are, so you know what's going on.
The county's gonna wanna know what commercial uses though.
Right.
They're not, so you're gonna have to have some buyers or something before you're gonna wanna rezone so that you get the right uses for what the buyers will be doing there. Want to just, it's not just rezoning commercial, a blanket commercial. It's specific to what is gonna go on there.
Okay, so it'd be like restriction to certain things,
Yeah.
like non-manufacturing or
Yep.
something.
Well, you
Yes.
may not want a slaughterhouse there.
Yes, yes.
So we're going to know that that it is a plumber
Okay, all right.
that's going to run trucks out every morning and they come back at night, or it's a landscaper that's doing basically the same thing.
Non-manufacturing community where there's manufacturing all day. And
Yeah.
The zoning districts that are available have a laundry list of potential uses.
Okay,
So the idea would be to go through that list and say, here are the 20 types of uses that I'm targeting here.
okay,
And ideally, as Kim suggested, have a prospect or two, doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You or the town in understanding what you're gonna, want to put here.
Yeah.
But the other thing I'd encourage you before you talk to the county is to at least conceptualize stormwater management, because that's the first thing they're gonna look at when they see this, is that where are you gonna put the stormwater?
Yeah.
Even a broad concept, a rule of thumb, hey, we're gonna have to set aside 10%, 15%, here's where the low ground is. So probably somewhere in the lot 1 to 5 area, based on my understanding of how those land lays, but,
oh, yes, that is the wet, number 2 is really the wet area.
Yeah.
But not certified wetlands, it's just lower.
I understood.
Out here?
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Miga. I currently live in McFarland, and I am considering buying 30 acres of land in Cottage Grove. I'm sure you are familiar with the parcel. It's Galarovich Trust is selling. Those are 3 parcels, 9 acres, 7 acres, and 13 acres. And this is my story. So I own 2 seasonal businesses, 2 concession businesses, food trucks, and I also own, party rental business that we go to festivals and fairs and set up climbing walls, trampolines, those rides and whatnot. So my question is, if I buy a buildable right, can I build a house on one of these parcels, the 9-acre parcel, and build 100 by 100 barn to store my equipment? So again, customers do not come to me. So all the business happens at fairs and festivals.
But it's still a commercial
But
enterprise.
Dane County Correct wants me to have limited commercial zoning.
For the house, you can do that because right now we have it in ag preservation, that area.
Mhm.
And that would allow a house to go there as long as you have a building right.
Correct.
Commercial would not be allowed because it's in ag preservation.
Mhm.
We are in the midst of starting reviewing our complete comp plan. And I guess I can't tell you that we would or would not see land in that area wanting to go to commercial or not.
So my question is, since the property east of, from this, location, it is kind of 2.3 acre, it's zoned commercial. So
Right.
that's why I thought if he has commercial and, again, customers don't come to my place. And is it possible to get commercial use, but still, be, the parcel as is, with the house, or you need to kind of,
Not on a new parcel. Currently, you couldn't create more commercial.
okay?
That old building was commercial forever.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I know.
really know.
40 years plus years.
Yeah. but it doesn't match what our current comp plan says we want for that area.
Okay, so what is the likelihood, I guess? I don't want to waste your too much of your time. What is the likelihood?
I guess my personal opinion, no, it's not an area that there's still too much residential there. And do we want just a small acreage for commercial only?
Okay.
Excuse me, this is Robert Williamson.
Gaylord
Hello?
building
Oh,
on that sharp corner?
Yeah, on the short corner.
It's the land that we looked at one of the last meetings that they were adding on to all the lots. It's the additional land that they own.
Okay. This would be across, it'd be north of that.
Yes.
So, okay, so
Yeah.
I was thinking if the building sits closer to the, Violet Hope Road, further from the, houses, and then on the, left side, there is no house, it's just the commercial property, that we wouldn't kind of interfere with the, overall, people, living, and whatnot. So, so you're thinking right now, no?
Yeah,
Hello?
I mean, my preference would be for that first commercial building to,
Go away.
yeah. But I don't know that that'll ever happen, so.
Okay, so,
Did you have a question, Dave?
No,
Oh,
I got it. Robert Williamson.
Robert?
Yes. A question. Mika wants to build this 100 by 100 building. It's only for storage. It's not really, is that considered commercial when it's a private storage? He's not renting anything out. It's just building for his own personal use. Just like if he built the building and put old antique cars in there or whatever. I mean, the building is not accessible to anyone else other than him and his 1 or 2 employees.
It's still
Not
a
really-
commercial building,
It's not really a commercial or manufacturing site or anything.
but it is commercial. He's running a business out of it. So it's going to be considered commercial.
Is it running a business out of it if he has an office in it? Or if he has his office in his home, is that building commercial then?
Building is still commercial,
Even if it's just for storage?
even if it's just for storage. It's
Okay.
storage for commercial items.
okay.
So equipment to run his business is considered commercial?
Yes,
Okay, well, no, I mean, I understand, but I'm just trying to understand here. Like he said, Gala Industries is right there next door. And you go down the road a little bit, you have Farwell. You've got a whole number of different little businesses right in the immediate area, really.
even if he put up a building, he's going to need a house to be tied with it if it's going to be residential.
No,
And
he's planning on doing that.
size of that building has to relate to the size of the house.
Okay.
And that 100 by 100 is going to be way bigger than what the house is. So it's.
What is the ratio of house to building?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head either.
Well, I mean, if it's a commercial building, why would a commercial building would really have nothing to do with residential, would it?
Correct. But I'm saying if he was trying to build a house and build an outbuilding that he was going to use for his own storage of his motor home or his boat, that relates to the size of the house. So even if he was going to build this building and the house, but then he's deciding he's going to run a business out of it, that becomes a problem with the size. So it's always going to be considered commercial.
Okay. I guess I'd like to know what the relationship is between the size of the house. How do we know how big his house is going to be and the building? We don't really know that yet. Or Can he build more than one building?
No,
Why not?
That's the way the county is. You're
One
allowed an
outbuilding.
outbuilding.
Only one outbuilding?
yep,
But isn't the rule that you can cover 10% of your lot? If you are, let's say, if you are zone RR4, the Dane County says, that you can cover your lot 10%.
Again, but you're storing your business equipment inside there.
Correct. And then,
That is where it becomes a commercial operation, because you will deliver your commercial items to customer A for the duration of whatever the event is. You will pick up that equipment and bring it back.
correct,
So basically, you're a commercial warehouse for your own business.
correct.
And that's where Chris was saying that in that area, yes, we all realize that Galar has been there forever. But at this particular,
probably before we had zoning.
could be, well, it's been there for 40 years that I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, what Chris was saying with regards to the existing Galar was there before even the houses were down there on Galen Way, or a majority of them.
Yeah,
And so that area has decidedly has taken on a residential flavor, if you will,
Okay.
versus having a commercial. And the idea of Farwell's, that is so far removed, down at the corner on AB and Coit, that I don't know that I would associate that with Galar at all.
I
And
wouldn't say that's far removed. It's just down the road a little bit, not even a mile.
It's a much busier road.
correct.
Which can't have commercial.
So again, like Chris said, I'll kind of parrot what he said, was the fact that, as we're discussing our new plan with our planner here, that's something that could certainly be discussed, whether or not it's going to go anywhere, but certainly nothing in what I would consider the short term.
Nothing in the short term, okay.
Can someone get me the information as to the size of the building in accordance with the size of the house? I mean, the house would be on 2 acres and the other building would be on the other 28 acres.
You can't,
no, it can't. It has to all be on the same lot.
It is on the same lot, but to get a building, okay, if someone is to buy that 30 acres from us, then they buy a building site. That building site for the house can only be up to 2 acres, correct?
Yes,
What happens to the other 28 acres?
it stays at whatever the current zoning is on it.
So are you saying that if you were to build, so you're saying that the outbuilding would have to be on that 2 acres?
Yes,
Yes. And you will
So-
not get a 100 by 100 building on 2 acres.
Right, yeah.
Why does it have to be on 2 acres when he's buying 30 acres?
it's not zoned commercial, so it's going to be zoned residential. And you can only have a residential house with one outbuilding. If you're going to put it on the remaining farmland, it would have to be a farm building related to farming, and it's obviously not.
Okay, so the only way to build that building it would have to be commercial. And for commercial, you only need 5 acres. Is that correct? Limited commercial?
I'm trying to fumble through the zoning code on my phone.
Yeah, I think so. It is. It is in a limited commercial, minimum 5 acres.
Five acre maximum,
maximum, yeah, that sounds more right.
5 acre maximum in limited commercial zoning.
So in theory, that could be done with, in theory, he could buy 5 acres and put a 100 by 100 commercial building on it if it were approved, correct?
If it was zoned limited commercial zoning.
Right, which which I understand it, we need to get that possibly changed.
Right.
But then he would be able to.
Limit commercial would be a maximum of 5-acre site.
But first, the comprehensive plan has to be changed to allow a commercial zoning parcel there, and that's not. what
That's
it
not
says.
guaranteed either.
Right.
That'll take us the rest of this year at least.
Yes.
Correct. So, yeah, the comprehensive plan currently says the town generally will not support rezoning of lands for commercial use within the ag preservation area, except for the expansion of existing businesses at the discretion of the town board. So to go to LC1 would be a rezoning of land for commercial use. So that is not consistent with the ag preservation recommendation for the parcel. And as Chris mentioned, it'll take probably most of this year to work through the comprehensive plan. And even after that, there's absolutely no guarantee that that policy will change in your favor.
What strikes me as ironic is that he would be an ideal candidate for the project we just talked about.
So the
I
thing
know
is,
it's hard. I mean,
what I'm trying to achieve, to have my residence, close to my building. So I don't want to, find a storage place on the Beltline and travel every day to work and kind of waste my time and add one more vehicle to that traffic. So I would love, if it's all possible, as a family business, we are kind of limited family business, a family operation, to kind of stay on the same parcel. I understand, if we are not disturbing people around, so, and we are not driving trucks every day, all day. So our season starts in July, and we are on the road all the way till September. We don't even come home. I don't even see my home till September. Then we come for a week, then we go to Alabama, to the state fair, and then we come back and we park.
Vicky, has Jean's house been sold? Your dad's house, has that been sold?
No, not that I know of.
Well, there's a farmhouse for sale. Across the street is heavy commercial. And they have land that they're not using that might be for sale. I mean, you could talk to those two landowners.
And it's just down here at N and 12.
It's on field view.
So, okay, so for this one, is there any hope? I mean, I'm not in a rush to kind of buy today, tomorrow. Is there any hope that, that we could, by the end of the year, whatever you guys need to go through the process?
Go through other hoops.
Yeah, I guess I just don't see it surviving.
It's pretty much residential entrenched down there, and we may not be in the town after a while.
Yeah,
Be in the city.
within Madison's ETJ.
Yeah.
But
All those businesses that are in there now have been in there 70s, early 70s.
And even if, this is just total supposition, even if the town were to reconsider, you'd still have to fight with the city of Madison.
Okay, that's true. I mean, I talked to Dane County, 2-3 times, and it says it's up to you guys that everything, if you guys approve that, more likely nobody else will oppose.
I don't know about the city.
Yeah.
They somehow or sometimes have turned to be,
we've approved other things that they don't like.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay, well,
thank you.
thank you guys.
Any
Thank you for
other,
your time. Appreciate your helping us.
yep, any other public concerns from anyone? If not, we'll move on to discuss and consider application by Barron Conservation Incorporated. Applicant is Vicky Score, Vicky Kraus, landowner, to rezone 10 acres of parcel 0711284-9700-0 from AT35 to HC for sale to Capital Holdings.
Yeah, Nick, you go ahead and grab it back. We won't need it back.
Capital Holdings LLC to expand their existing commercial use and to rezone 28.6 acres of parcel 07112849160. From 1835 to RM16 for zoning compliance.
Screen isn't showing up right.
And that 26 acre remaining is your remaining parcel.
Yeah, so the smaller square is what they want to take to heavy commercial, and because it would leave
Lowers
this
that
other-
below the
yeah,
35.
35 it has to be RM16.
Questions from anyone?
Any time when you're gonna move the RM16 into well, sell it or the whole farm? build it?
I can't hear a word
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. I was wondering what your future plan was or your timing for selling the remaining RM16, which we're gonna put in RM16?
We have no plan for selling that
at all?
at the present time anyway. I don't know how you can say never, but anyway. But it seemed logical to us that that little thumb that you see there, that 10 acres,
Yes.
joining up with Capital Underground was a good way for them to expand their business. So they thought it that way.
Right. Where it says FP35 up there? Right. You see the HC in white? That's the 10 acres that they're selling.
Okay, yeah.
Comes off the farm to the left.
Yep.
Remaining 28 acres, then goes to the RM16.
Oh, it goes up to the 16.
Yeah,
Okay,
because it can't be the AT35.
right, agreed. Yeah.
RM16 stand for?
Pardon?
What does RM16 stand for?
Rural mixed use.
Oh, mixed okay.
Any questions from anyone?
Who owns the RM16 above? You guys?
What now?
Who owns the RM16 above?
RM16 above.
Right there.
Larry
Store?
It's either Larry or Harvey,
Harvey,
not us.
This one.
Yeah,
Harvey,
I think it's Harvey. He
Harvey
owns
owns that, I believe.
Yeah, and basically this remaining piece has been used for hay. And then it's an old gravel pit and storage buildings for Larry's
Yeah,
farming operation.
the new
In the
old
house.
tobacco shed.
Well, it was a tobacco shed, now
Yeah.
it's a machine.
Now it's storage, yeah.
And we definitely go to RM16. We don't do any transitional or anything like that.
Transitional would be if we were gonna go to residential, and
Okay.
it's planned for commercial. So when the
We don't
time
have
comes,
any splits.
Yeah.
John and I in the LLC, we don't have any splits left, so.
selling it for commercial is what you want.
Yeah, yeah.
And that way then we'll be able to get connection with Nat Big Road.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Anyone else have any comments on this? Doherty?
No, it's just what we would like to do.
Okay. Any action?
Is there any way that we should be reserving some land for the future road or?
When we get a CSM,
Okay.
I have talked to Larry and to our engineer, the road that we want to come off of that first 90 degree to run to the west would straddle the section line.
Red line?
And how we then navigated around the area to come out across from that big is up in the air.
You talking about the red line? The top,
No.
the line?
The section line is the next line up.
Right there, this line here.
Yeah,
Oh. So you'd be coming off North Star
That's Harvey there.
yeah,
at the bend, is what you talked about earlier. Okay.
right. Because Larry has talked about selling some acreage right there where your cursor is, and I told him what we are going to need for road right of way.
So there's no reason to even talk about it on this action.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Not at this point.
Yeah.
Mark, have any comments in relation to the plan, conceptual plan of that?
No, I think you're on track. I think getting the right of way and as development happens on those parcels to get the road actually built, even if it's not built all at once, but in segments.
Yeah,
So that ultimately you can make it happen and you can attribute the cost of building to the people that are developing the land.
yep. Anyone wishing to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezone from AT 35 to RM 16 for 28.6 acres and from AT 35 to HC for 10.0 acres.
And same conditions as the original parcel for Capital Underground?
Oh, yes.
Motion by Anders, is there a second? Second by Myler to approve the rezone from of AT 35, 28.6 acres to RM 16 and AT 35 for 10 acres to HC with the same conditions that were applied to the rest of the land of Capital Underground. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It'll be on the town board on the 3rd, this coming Monday.
Oh, okay.
So our next item is discuss and consider application by Coparts of Connecticut Incorporated for site approval of 6-acre expansion of the Copart facility to offset loss of land taken by Wisconsin DOT for their safety improvement project.
Dwayne Swalheim.
I believe that Tom Harley is on.
Yes, yeah, Bob Harley from RA Smith, Chris White from RA Smith, and Dan Prevet from Copart, the applicant.
All right, you want to go through it?
Well, geez, I was hoping you would, but okay. Let's see. So when we applied for the original approval for this site, the DOT had plans to improve the intersection of County AB and Highway 1218. What's shown on the screen right now was at that time, a couple years ago, an interim condition. And then there's a full build out, which is, I believe, on C202, if you could go to that sheet. Anyways, this was just presented for how the site was going to proceed going forward from an initial interim condition with access off of 1218 to the full build out condition, which is what DOT is proposing right now. The plans have progressed since that time very expeditiously, and we are now, I don't know the exact timing of the dedication of the land, but that is a negotiation between Copart and the DOT.
Yeah.
That land that's kind of identified where the roundabout was, yeah, in that area, that odd shape area, not shaded. That would be taken away and dedicated to the DOT. And this project, what at hand right now is an area that was looked at for a potential expansion, which is about what you said, 6 acres or so. We are currently working with the town, county zoning, and stormwater for approvals. It was factored in the county stormwater and erosion control. So there would be no modifications to the approved stormwater management facilities, rather just more of a record keeping purposes. Okay, now we are incorporating this area into that area and making it official.
Do you have to do anything with that non-cataloged archaeology site?
We are working with Wisconsin Historical Society on that and have filed a permit. Copart's consultant is will be on board for that. Any correspondence with that?
On your, I guess I'm looking at C201, where Ludd's Lane's going to come down and give you access at your gate there. That's an electronic gate. They'll have to make sure that they give our fire department the code for that gate and make sure that they supply the Knox box and keys for the building.
Perfect. I don't think, and Dan can speak up to that, but I do not believe that's going to be an issue.
No, it's not. We already had planned on it for the other gate when we were coming off of 12 and 18. So we'll just move it back there or add another one. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Can you maybe go over your overall grading plan? I see that on C300 along 12 and 18. How long will there be new berm along that new section then? Or you're going to leave part of that hill to help hide it, right?
This is Chris White from R.H. Smith. So the way the natural topography works is from the highway, it goes up to the property line. And then from the property line, we'll start coming down. So the property line itself will act as that screening berm.
And you'll fence that area then too?
Yes, Copart has a specialty fence that they were using around the rest of the site, and they'll just continue that around this extension.
Just to the west of that hill, is the berm going to continue to that hill?
To the west, so the entire southern property line, the property line itself is the high point. So it dives down once you start going into the property.
Acting as a berm.
Acting as a berm, yeah.
Okay.
I think when we originally came in with the site plan that's currently on the screen, it's the western side that we had to put in that artificial berm That over there is where I think we discussed putting in, and we had it on the plans to put in a berm to do extra screening. But that's the piece that the DOT is taking. So.
Correct.
So what are they gonna do then?
It looks like it goes up 10 feet, Chris, from the roadway to that hill, or to that property line. From 880 to 890.
On the
There's a
west,
low
on the
spot.
very, oh, go ahead.
Isn't there a low spot just the west of where the hill is?
Yeah, I think it goes down from the 890.
Yes.
Down to 884 probably.
So that there should be a berm continuing along there in that low spot. Right?
Can you zoom in as to the location where you're looking, please?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, you're getting closer.
Pick a number, any number.
Is this where you're looking? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Just
move your cursor along that.
Doesn't it get low right here?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't that get low there?
Yeah, it looks like it.
So I would think that that berm should continue to fill in that low spot.
We're gonna have a lot of fill.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the goal is to get it continuous at 890 across there then?
Yeah.
Is that your comment?
So to screen it so you don't see them as you're driving west on 12 and 18.
Okay. Chris, is this right where, can you see the text that says future property line?
Future, yes.
Okay, so that's not going to be Copart's property anymore to the right where you were before. No, left.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, so whatever the DOT is doing, we don't have any control along that line. That is now going to be DOT right away for the improvements at AB.
All right.
Right, so if you go back to sheet 201, I think it was, the interim condition with the roundabout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of explains.
Frontage road.
Well, it's an interim condition. Yeah, that one. See how
yeah,
the loss of land there? I do not know how DOT plans to address that grading in there.
So then with the future property line all along there, there'll be the fence, but will there also be a berm?
That's up to the DOT, how to match into those grades that we have set there.
I would think that.
Is there a 202, which is like the full build out condition? Yeah, yeah. Final plan, right?
8-foot high metal
Panel fence.
panel fence.
They were supposed to put.
Yeah, so we do not have any access on 1218. There's slip lanes to get off of 1218 to get into that roundabout. We do not have any design information as to how they have our plans and grades to figure that out.
just for discussion purposes, why would DOT have any skin in the game with regards to whether or not you put a berm up there or not at the property line?
That's basically what I'm saying, sir, is that I do not know what they are planning on tying into our grades.
I see.
Okay,
Can we request the berm there?
I think we need to, don't you?
Yeah.
To,
That,
I mean, the 8-foot high fences
Correct.
is something, but we need more than 8 feet?
That was
depends
the
upon
original
what it's
plan.
at
What's that?
compared to the road level.
Yeah.
And that's what the original plan was, is put a berm up and then an 8-foot fence on top of the berm.
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't think there was a berm there.
In the original plan, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I think by that condition will be reducing the amount of usable storage space on behalf of Copart.
No, we asked DOT to put in the berm on their property.
I can't answer that one. That certainly can be mentioned and brought up in discussions with them.
Yeah.
So the original plan before the DOT got involved was how many vehicles could you store on the lot? Do you remember? I thought it was 4,000 and I believe it was 1,000. So.
Lots more than what's being proposed right now. How's that?
I didn't bring my sheets.
Okay.
What about on the eastern side of the property in the wetlands area? As far as, will there be, I know it's been discussed a little bit, will there be a berm there? For any traffic moving west?
Eastern side. Again, let's call it the southeast area. That's a knob, so it's coming up, and then we're diving back down, obeying all setbacks from wetlands and floodplains and etc., just to get some storage area in there. So that shaded area that's there, that's representative of the usable storage space. All the other area from the property line up, from the property line then up, that's white, up to that dark gray area, that's all setbacks, and we can't do anything in there, or we're grading in there where we can to come up, but then get back down. So it's acting as the existing topography, as Chris mentioned, is the berm.
Okay.
So the dark gray area in summary is lower than Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, lower than the grade at the property line, right?
That's correct. That
Okay.
entire width right there comes down on 3-to-1 slopes.
Yeah, right. So that area is going down from the property line, and outside of in the right of way, it's actually going up. So it goes up into that knob and then back down into the site.
Any more questions? Can you go to L101 and explain that?
We'll certainly try. Our landscape architect's not online here, but we can definitely field questions as needed.
Okay, the top left, that's where the building is, and with Ludd's Lane coming into it.
Okay, there we go. L1.
But the bottom right one, where is that?
Can you go back to L100? Okay, so that's at the entrance. Can you see? Can you see the odd shape there? Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
The
how.
bottom right one will go away.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So were you going to have, you probably don't know, but any landscaping along that south side of the property next to 12 and 18? Doesn't appear to be.
Correct. When this was the landscaping that was approved for the entrance and around the building. All the others was approved as you see it, with no exterior landscaping or trees. It was just the front facade as you would come into the site. But now with the DOT acquisition, that the front facade's going away basically, and it's coming in from the north, so you will not see it. And again, this will be behind and down beneath a berm from the existing topography.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm out.
With regards to the comments that were made with the potentially discussing with DOT about the quote berm unquote along 12, who initiates those discussions? Is that them or us? That's us?
Yeah, because this week I got 465 pages of documents from them on AB and 12 and 18. So Kim will email them back asking that question if they will supply a berm on that southwest side next to 12 and 18.
Okay.
Questions, answers, motions?
I guess I do have a comment or I don't know if it's a question. On page C202, okay, on the west side of the dark shaded area where it is up near the roadways for the two roundabouts here would be, yes, right where Kim's cursor is moving up and down.
Yeah.
All right. Because of the fact that's going to be relatively close and the traffic's going to be fairly slow moving in that area. And it's a change. It's something, do we consider some additional vegetation on the outside of the fence in that area for appearances?
They had some along.
What page are you on?
L101. Just to the immediate west of the parking spaces.
Right, no, I was talking out here.
Oh, you want more out here?
No,
That's
on
county. or estate.
I understand that, but
You want some along here?
something to make the fence that will be visible from whatever that road is called. Is that the thing, AB? Okay, so somebody traveling on AB, if they were to look to the east, would see potentially something more than their sectional fence. 12 and 18, to me, that's a little bit different. People are concerned about 65 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour, and I doubt there'd be too much, but the speed limit's gonna be substantially lower, at least posted wise.
Probably be 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly, on AB. So I was just curious if there's,
You want to ask for some additional landscaping along that southwest or AB side?
yeah. I don't know how anybody else feels.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. Because they're gonna have that little triangle there, right?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, that's theirs.
That they could plant.
Vegetate.
Yeah.
Vegetate.
Right. Sure. All right.
Gentlemen, on, yeah, on C202, on the west edge of the shaded area where Kim's cursor is moving up and down, you have a small triangle of property that's your fence is set back from. It's a tapering triangle. As I was discussing here, that you may or may not have heard, seeing the speed limits are substantially slower on AB in that area, I was considering the potential of some sort of vegetation on the roadside of your fence that you would potentially have room to do before you'd run into the DOT property. And I guess I'm just looking for some feedback just for appearance's sake.
Would you want evergreens?
Something, I don't know that I would want something deciduous. I mean, like, have something with,
That stay covered all the time?
yeah, I mean, it's,
An arborvitae or something?
yeah.
Cedar?
Yeah.
Something like that, that gives you coverage year round.
Right, with some height.
Yeah. Included in your motion.
All right.
Could, I don't have access where I'm at, the grading plan, could you just go to a grading plan, maybe a 300 series plan? I'm just curious to see what kind of grades we got, if they're flat or if they're steep or whatever. That would be my only, oh, they look all right. 302, yeah, that one. Yeah.
There is appear to be some contour changes, but it's not very close to each other. I mean, as far as it looks almost flat.
Maybe a foot
Yeah,
would be the most.
I see 890 to 889.
Yeah, I was just making sure that it's not going to be anything funky there. But okay, grades are good. Dan, I think what you were suggesting would be applicable and appropriate.
Yeah, so keep it in line with what you're maybe proposing on the inside of the property or not. I mean, it just, something other than just a plain white fence is what I was looking for.
So are we at the point somebody wants to make a motion?
I guess I'll make a motion to approve the request to adjust the maps to take into account the DOT acquisition of their former property or the formerly approved plan for the property to the one that they presented tonight with the addition of some greenery.
Evergreens
Yeah, on
the
the
west triangle.
On the west side of the property, on the outside of the fence adjacent to County Highway 8.
Will be County Highway.
Great, what will be County Highway AB.
Motion by Anders, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bolton to approve the expansion of the Copart facility with some sort of evergreens on the west side, that triangle next to AB outside of the fence.
Correct.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll be on the town board on Monday for action. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next item, discuss and consider application by Vinnie Acres LLC. Two parcels on Nora Road rezone of 6.69 acres from FP 35 to RR2 and 15.27 acres from FP 35 to FP 1 to create 2 residential lots and 2 agricultural lots.
Hi, I'm Chris Miller, and I'm here speaking on behalf of Vinnie Acres for their rezone. Actually, I'm not sure if it's written properly, but the application is to rezone 3 residential lots. I'm not sure.
RR2.
Yeah, to RR2, and that makes the combined total 6.69.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify that. So what we're looking to do, I'm just going to stand over here. We're looking to rezone these 3 residential lots to RR2 based off of a shared driveway easement to service these 3 lots. Apparently, this is a lot here, so that would be the 4th lot. So what Dane County says as far as servicing the lots, we were hoping to get those would be the 4 lots. Ideally, we would like to eliminate lot number 4 and put that back in with the FP 35 next to it, because all it is servicing a tobacco shed and it's tilled anyway. But if it has to be the 4 lots that are serviced off of the private driveway agreement, those are the 4 we would take. There was also a possibility of desiring to add roughly 12 acres behind to the west of lot 1, 2, and 3 to lot number 3, for example. So that's what we're looking to do. If the number of lots being served by the agreement is exceeded by 4, it appears to me, and I may be wrong here, but the arc of the road and the easement between lot 1 and the shared driveway agreement, which would be 66 feet wide, and would be part of one of the lots, we could technically take lot number 1 and give it its own access to Nora Road.
It's only showing 46 feet.
It is right now, but there's enough, it appears to me, between the 103 and the 46 on that arc there, that if we squared off the 103, you know, to add them up, it's over 66 times 2, I guess. So we could technically give lot 1 its own access to Nora, and it would be 66 feet wide. And then the shared driveway agreement could also be 66 feet wide at the road where it's currently 103. So just looking at a couple different options there, how to keep it at or below four lots being served by the, because we prefer not to go through a plat and make a subdivision and have to put a town road in a cul-de-sac and pave it and have you plow it and everything else if we could avoid it. So
Does
that's,
the county say there's a 4-lot limit?
yeah, it's part of chapter 75. I got it right here. And that's a 4-lot limit for residential. I couldn't decipher if they allow
That's
more,
well,
but at least only 4 residential.
because what I saw from Dan Everson in an email was that it's for residential only, and that if it's gonna include an ag lot, there's gonna have to be a variance or something on top of the easement in order to allow it to service an ag lot.
Okay, that I wasn't sure. I read it also and I have it here. And I wasn't sure if you decipher it as though, you know, 4 residential, but possibly more if they weren't residential.
No, Dan
Okay.
specifically said it, the easement doesn't really allow for the ag.
Mhm.
And so it was an email between Dan Everson and Roger Lane that I got copied on. And so Roger said then I guess they'd have to apply for a variance to that easement to allow for access to an ag lot.
Okay. I don't even know. Do you know what lot 4 is owned?
Dan would probably know. Dan Berenkott would probably know. He's trying to talk.
He's muted.
Is he muted? Unmute yourself, Dan.
There you go. Thank you. Say, we've talked to Roger Lane, and so we've got kind of a compromise worked out on what we could do here, as long as to see if it's something that would work with you. The latest that we've been told is that Don said that he would be fine to go with a plat on this. And I'll kind of go through each lot and kind of say what, so we're thinking of going with 5 lots and with a 66-foot access strip along the west edge of lot 1. Lot 5 is going to be just a, I think it's farmland preservation is kind of the zoning that we're going to ask for on it. So it's not a buildable lot. So basically that 12 acres you see down below, that would be included as a lot. So then what we're going to do is adjust the lot line on the west side of lot 1. On the north side of lot 1 to pull it down 66 feet so that there's a legal access to Nora Road for there. Then as far as on lot 3 will actually own the entire strip of land all the way out to Nora Road. So then lot 4 will have, the egg lot will have a variance for that. Lot 2 will have a variance off of that strip that's going to lot 3. And then lot 1 will have a variance also. So that way everybody has the right zoning so that we can bring in these lots off of it. So that's what we kind of worked out for a compromise with Roger Lane on how to make this all work. So lots 1, 2, and 3 will become residential lots. Lot 4 will remain as agricultural, and lot 5 will be a farmland preservation of some sort. So that's the intent, you know, for the 5 lots. So basically it's just like was described, but just the mechanics are a little bit different. Anybody got questions on that? I know I went through a lot of stuff quick.
Where's lot 5 actually located?
That would be right there. Yes, the 12 acres.
Okay.
Not a buildable lot. Lot 4 has to stay in there to accommodate the farm road that goes out.
Yeah, well, actually, I think lot 4 is being created because that was part of an old CSM. So that's why, and that needs to be part of the ag land, which Don's keeping. So that's why lot 4 will stay ag.
is there any way, Dan, can you hear me? Is there any way that lot 4 could be put back with all the land that we have next to that, where we could we use the word clean it up maybe, or whatever? I'm just saying, because we did do.
Yes.
We did that to me on another farm one time. Chris probably knows what farm I'm talking about.
Get rid of lot 4. And
I mean, just put it
We
back.
could, by doing a certified survey of the 30, of that farm, or not of the farm, but of that 40-acre tract that it's in. If we do a new certified survey for that, that will make it go away.
That would clean up a lot.
Yeah.
I personally would like that, because we don't ever want to get rid of lot 4. We would just want it to be.
It would
farmed.
disappear.
Yeah, and if that's easier for you guys, I'm all for it. I know it's gonna cost me extra to survey it, but if Dan says that we could do that, I'd really like to do that.
Yeah, that way that 40-acre tract then will be just known as a lot of a CSM. And then that parcel goes, that line goes away.
That 80-foot wide driveway,
Yep.
can we get a turnaround off a cul-de-sac or some way so that fire truck ambulance can turn around?
Most likely what we've been doing lately is doing like a hammerhead of some sort, if that would work. Some kind of, actually in our driveway design, we can work something in so that we can make sure the fire trucks can get turned around.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
There
Yes.
is right now. I mean, there's a big hay field in front of that, north of that shed there on lot 4. Plus there's kind of a cul-de-sac right now in front of the east part of lot 4 in front of the shed.
But is that actually part of the road? I mean, that's.
Well, it's a pretty big area. It's a big open area.
I know, the thing about this hammerhead you're talking about is that you got a truck pull in, when you get more than one fire truck. This is gonna back out, pull in here, then back down, and then you're gonna have another fire truck that's following.
That had to be kept year round. As far as snow, I should say.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of the things with what Don just brought up, which would really work in everybody's favor, is if lot 4 goes away by doing a CSM, that CSM can be done by itself. And so now all of a sudden that gets us back to where we can just do it as a certified survey and there is no plat needed. So that's a huge advantage for Don. If anything, he just saved himself some money, by doing that.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Miller and I talked, and if we can stay away from, doing a driveway and putting it on you guys, and I mean, I know you guys don't want any more roads, and that's what he was trying to explain too, is if there's a way we can.
I guess, do you have you drafted a driveway easement?
Not yet. Once we, we'll have to get a variance through the county also for doing this process. So that'll be all part of it that we're going to be working through as we go along.
Because I guess I just want to make sure that the owners of lot 1, 2, and 3 know not to call the town when it snows and they're looking for a plow, or their garbage hose wasn't picked up in front of their house, that they know that they have to take it down to Nora Road.
Well, right now we're just asking for a rezoning, and we'll be coming in with a new certified survey on this now that we've got a game plan. And so in that, we can work out that driveway, which will spell all of that stuff out, is like who's going to maintain it, how it can be used, so that should spell that all out in that document that you will be able to get to review.
Okay. So I guess my next question is, Do we need to do anything tonight if you're going to resubmit something?
I would say that we could afford the table right now. Don, are you okay with that? And, I think we got a good game plan now.
Why don't you just mention the slopes?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna bring up. We went out there, we kind of came up with an idea, which is where you would want to potentially put, a residence on each one of those. And I don't know that you don't have the contour lines on there. I did make up some maps showing the contour lines and.
We have this one, yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at the slopes on the back of the property,
I have to read
Yeah.
this. I have to reload.
we don't want to be anywhere near the steep slopes. There's no reason to, and there's no
Those
reason.
are all
that-
to the west.
Those are all to the west. And the kind of tailor-made spot, the flat spot on all the lots is centrally located towards the east. I can show you, I did make some copies. I'm just kind of sketched in some stuff here. I know you can't do the math with the contour lines, but if you look at kind of where I sketched in, the driveway location for lot 2 and 3, there's already a field road there that if you did the contours, it's less than 6%. There's an existing field road there. Look at the second page. And you can see the contour lines are, dead flat spots. The other page. That's kind of where the potential house site would be.
20%, that's 30%.
Yeah, back here. We're not even going to be there. We could isolate those areas. And if you walk out there, you can see those 3 locations are, the driveway isn't exceeding, even 10% on any of them, or nor is the location of the house. But the steep slopes to the west, that's part of the property, but there's no reason to be there. No reason would you want to be there at all. And we could, I don't know that, you guys really do that. Some townships do that where they spot zone the location for the house, et cetera.
Yeah, no.
If that was needed, there's no problem, but it is kind of, if you see the contour lines, you can see it's kind of tailor-made spots and they're not anywhere near the steep slopes.
Okay. Helps visualize it better.
What does Dan think about that?
You probably can't see it, but
Chris, I can see it just fine. Say, what we normally do on these lots like that is that we will define the slope area that's steeper and actually define the buildable area on the map. So we can do that as like a second exhibit that'll be like attached to the CSM. So that should be just a condition of, to show the buildable area, of the approval of the lots.
Okay.
The other question I have is if you choose to make lot 3, I'm just going to use this map right here, the one they just handed out here.
Yeah.
If lot 3 becomes the owner of sorts of that driveway that goes all the way out to Nora, that's what I understood you were talking about doing. Lot 3 would own the driveway.
Yes,
And
but there would
everybody else
also,
have,
over that area, Don will keep an easement, basically he will control that area, over it, so lot 3 will own it, but Don will actually control, the driveway, things like that. So that way he has his access to the ag if he needs it, but it will be residential, is what we'll plan on doing on that.
So
does the 2.32 acres doesn't include what he's going to own in road frontage?
Right, that'll increase in size, just like the lots. If we do the access for what I call lot 5, we'll be reconfiguring the shape of the lots, to make sure they've got the 2 acres. And so that's where that back line will be adjusted a little bit to make sure that we've got the 2 acres there
Okay.
for each parcel.
What I was getting at is that we've run across, not recently, but the last land zoning change that we did was up off of Ridge Road, as I recall, where the county actually made them put in a detention pond because the driveway is so long that it meets, because it's classified as impervious surface, even though it's gravel, the county made the landowner put in a detention pond for water runoff. That is a distinct possibility here.
It is.
You're gonna be almost, you're gonna be almost at 800 feet.
Yeah, soils and conservation will tell us who, if we do have to meet up, any of those requirements. So in our design that they're going to get to approve, that'll be part of it.
Yes, I'm aware of that, but I'm just wanted to make you aware that this is something that the county has done when it comes to excessively long driveways.
Very good, yes.
Do we know how long it would be on lot 3, Chris?
Well, I mean, I know each one of those individual lots, at least 2 of them, land and water is going to come into play just because of the length of the driveway. It's over 125 feet. So, each one of those lots is going to have to handle their own driveway themselves. I don't know how, Dan might be able to answer that better for the shared part, but I think they're different entities, so I'm not sure on that. But yeah, I mean, I know they would make you, by the looks of it, 2 of them, the lots, you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, if they want to put a shed, it even gets worse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
If they want to put a shed, it gets worse.
Oh, yeah.
It'll depend on how we apply for it, so if we apply lot 3 with the total driveway, they may consider that driveway and their extension into their lot 3 all at that same application. So we'll just have to see how, it's all being, who's paying for what when. We'll kind of determine part of that.
Tell the room.
If they have to.
Hey, Dan?
Yes.
Did I understand you said you're gonna readjust the back line of all 3 lots? You're gonna adjust that?
We will, because if we have to take 66 feet out of lot 1, that'll get lot 1 down to like 1.7 acres, something like that. So we'll just be pushing the line to the, I'm sorry, not to the west and to the south. We'll probably adjust those lines a little bit. So we'll see how it all works, but also we'll be looking at the buildable area at the same time too.
Do you need to do that if you're gonna get rid of that number 4 lot?
Yes, we will have to do that also. Yes, if lot 4 goes away, it really doesn't affect what we're doing because lot 3's configuration is staying the same.
Yeah.
So then, I need to make sure that I've got 2 acres, in each lot, because that's what we're requesting.
Yeah. Because lot 1 right now is 2.035.
Right. Right. So I've got to adjust that somehow.
So for tonight, we need to just table this.
I would agree to that. And we need basically a new map. And then I think we're going to come in with, if Don's fine with that, we'll come in with a new lot that gets rid of 4, which then that simplifies a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I got one more thing that's jumping the gun, but Don, are you gonna do any covenants or any deed restrictions?
Well, I'm sure, Chris, right? We have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We have those need to be part of this when they come back? The deed restrictions, so they need to be part of the process?
Driveway agreement, is that what you're talking about?
Well, the driveway agreement, there'd be any deed restrictions to their buildings? I don't know if
will be deed restricted,
cover the,
no development.
right? But I'm thinking of setting, things that are outside. I know Scarceston Road has deed restrictions.
These would have deed restrictions too, but I don't know if they would be part of this process.
Okay, that's fine.
The big thing is they can't use, they gotta put the driveways where Chris was talking about.
Correct.
I don't want somebody going straight up the hill anyhow. So, and where he's got them laid out on his figure, I think is really nice.
Okay.
Dane County's gonna want to see that also.
Yeah, because they don't want us to use that. Or, Chris is trying, he said before too, that, there's no reason to use those 30% slopes and that 20% right in the middle of lot 2. And that's what we're trying to stay away from. Because I don't want a lot of washing down the hill myself if I'm gonna maintain that driveway. So.
So they're gonna need to go back to the county and reapply too, right? And you want them to do that before they come back here so that we start over the way?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think we need to reapply because we're going along the same standards of what we were looking for. What we are coming up here is actually what Roger Lane was asking us to do. So I think it's we'll run this by Roger, make sure that we don't, to see if we do need to amend something. I mean, we've got our petition in. What we probably got to do is just amend our petition.
That's what I meant.
Yep, and so that's what I think we've got to do on this, on our end.
Okay. Is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Motion by Anders, second by Myler to table. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All same sign, motion carried.
So Chris, to bring it back on, we just need to submit a new plan to Kim, so that way we can, get this thing back on the schedule for hopefully next month.
Yeah, we would meet on the 23rd, so she needs it, what, by the 11th?
2 weeks.
Okay. By April 11th. Okay, very good.
June.
May.
May, whatever.
16th? 14.
They need it 2 weeks before the meeting.
Okay.
That date is. 12th then.
The 12th.
The meeting, 2 weeks would be the 12th. Okay. All right. We're
I'm gonna find that.
down to
turn this
Mark.
back
Yeah,
over
that's
to
it.
him.
Where do you wish to begin?
On the Yellow Brick Road.
Well, thanks for having us. You see Nick's behind me tonight, as he is usually, but the stuff we wanted to cover tonight is a little bit about the schedule, where we're at on it. Talk about the community survey, it's exciting, and Nick's going to share with you kind of a top 3 or 4 list for that big conditions and issues document, and the understanding that, we don't need to do anything with it tonight. And I'll talk a little bit about that more. And then if we have time, after you've kind of had a chance to think about it, I've got the 2015 vision statement from the comp plan included among your materials. If there's anything that strikes you as, we need to revisit or change, we could talk about that and close tonight on that. First off, schedule. So the couple things that are affecting our schedule a little bit is that, as we might have expected, the census data is slow to be released. You actually might have seen the story that they released the broad census data for, this congressional reapportionment and electoral votes and that kind of stuff. So it's coming out slowly, but we still don't have all of it. In addition to that, what we would like to do very soon, and as soon as a meeting in May, is invite property owners to participate, learn a little bit about the future land use map, and hope potentially about that other map that we had up on screen for the interchange area at hand, and provide some feedback, some hopes, dreams, wishes that they may have for the town plan and their property that we can start to factor in to the future land use planning. So I think it's a good time in a lot of different ways to try to get that feedback, and we'd be working with Kim to kind of get the word out.
Yeah, so you have to figure out which area of landowners areas you want to target, and then we can.
Yeah, I mean, we
go together.
Send them a postcard.
Whether again, you know, that space constraints and still dealing with COVID makes everything that much more complicated. But this makes things easier. And so, you know, we could encourage people. Yeah, it usually works. We can encourage people to participate that way to kind of ease things a little bit. I would suggest that we might want to kind of deal with property owners outside of the area of the N interchange first.
Okay.
And then maybe at the meeting after that, we could deal with the N interchange, you know, focus on that, if that makes sense. And then I just don't know, you know, maybe you have a better sense, but I don't know how many to expect, whether we would get 10 or 50.
Well, I mean, I guess we need to look at what is that area? You know, you're not gonna invite all the landowners. There's certain landowners that we're looking more at changes that would affect, right? We got to figure out what those areas are so that we can target those landowners.
Areas where land use might be most likely to change in the future.
I mean, somehow you got to pick something. Otherwise, I mean, I don't have a list that's just people that own over, you know, bigger than a residential lot, you know, so I don't know how to make a list.
Yeah, we could probably filter working with county staff as to, you know, identifying large property owners, those that own, you know, more than 40 acres in the town. I would think that they would be able to help us with that list. And, you know, I'm just spitballing here, but I would imagine that list has got, you know, 200 people on it when you.
No, I doubt it. We got quite a few landowners that own most of it.
Oh, well, that's a good point. So fewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So most of them might have been here tonight.
Understood. Yeah. So, you know, that might be a particular approach. And then, you know, perhaps later in the process, when we get a plan crafted, we could figure out a way to outreach to the, you know, the 1 acre lot owners, you know, so that they're aware of the plan and can view it rather than, you know, being as involved on the front end.
Madison sometimes will put out a public notice sign, yellow, it says public notice sign, and there's gonna be some major change, like they did
Yeah.
up here at Sprecher and BB when they put that quick trip in.
Right.
And something like that be set up where you put it at certain intersections that are high traffic intersections. You know, when it's off the country, Baxter Road, Up Hawk Road, areas like that. Would that work? Is that good or bad?
You know, you can use this property to do that. You know, if it's county highway, state highway, US highway, they're gonna yank them out as soon as they can.
Yeah, and we don't have room on town roads for them to park to read it, get out and read it.
Yeah, I get your drift is that, you know, trying to figure out a way to get the word out in places that people, you know, are present. We're working and, you know, Kim, we can talk offline here, but we're trying to, you know, build a way to reach out to property owners a little bit more and make the webpage a little bit more active. And, you know, I think we should definitely use this opportunity to connect people to the resources that we have.
We try.
Yeah, I know.
I thought more people that
You know,
usually letter, they don't even read the
yeah,
name.
just that half the time, I know what we were trying to do one time recently, and I mean, I went so far as to print in red on the outside of the envelopes, important information about your property, do not discard, and they still, oh, that's junk, it's from the town, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
When we had the countywide rezone,
Yeah.
that, yeah,
It's
that one.
impossible to get people to recognize it as important
It
until,
is.
you
They
know.
check and close.
So, well, you know, we would hope that some people would participate. And, you know, the worst case scenario is we've extended the effort.
Yeah.
To try to get people, and, you know, we can communicate that later on as needed. That
We've been building a pretty extensive phone and email database, that, you know, we've just been like, every time they get a burning permit, a dog license, we're building it all into a database, because we learned with elections last year, when we couldn't get a hold of people because they all have cell phones, that we need to have this stuff. And of course, it's not something that everybody just gives you intentionally. You got to pull it together from all these sources. But I've got, you know, 1,500 names on that list, so it's better than it used to be. We're in better shape than we were a year ago to do that.
Yeah.
By far. But, and so we can do a combination of, you know, emails. I don't think we want to do phone calls, but and mailings. I mean, some of them we just plain have to mail. But first we got to figure out who we want to reach out to.
Yeah, I might
think you'd start with the large
runs, and probably again focus outside of that interchange area, because with the idea that at either a June meeting or some other meeting, we would focus specifically on that.
The North Star area.
Yeah, the North Star area. So I think together we can, you know, reach out to county staff and just, you know, ask them for a mailing list basically that sorts.
That is more than 100 acres or.
Yeah, what's the magic number? I don't know. But it is.
Or maybe they could give us a list of property owners that we could sort in order by number of acres they own.
And then we could decide where
draw
to
a line somewhere.
draw the line. That's a good idea.
I mean, we kind of have that with our tax roll, but it's probably going to be some work to get what we want, and maybe they got something they can do better.
I think they can. I think it's a pretty easy ask. So.
Okay.
And then we can, working with Nick and Kim, get a, you know, small notice out to them, a postcard.
Yeah.
And get that out, you know, a couple weeks in advance of that May meeting.
Okay.
And then I don't know.
That's going to have to happen pretty quick then, because
Yeah.
that date is pretty close.
Yeah, it is.
If we're going to do
Saturday's the first.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the other alternative is that we get off of a regular meeting night
and have a special
meeting in, you know, the first half of June or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
And then we wouldn't have people sitting around waiting for, you know, other business.
I think that would be better.
That would be fine with us. Better for us, you know, in a lot of ways. Everyone's fresher and no one has to wait.
The first Tuesday or Thursday, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be better.
Okay, well, we'll work on a date that doesn't conflict with other goings-ons and do it that way. That sounds great. That gives us a little bit more time. There's no reason to push it. We had, as you look at the schedule, we had a break in the summer anyway. Not so much a break, it's us sort of working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
To put a plan draft together and then coming back in August. So we've got a bubble of time to work with there.
Okay.
So that's good. Let's plan on doing that. And then we'll concoct a little bit, you know, like a 10-slide presentation, you know, about the plan, what it currently says, you know, the map, what it currently means, and to give some framework. You know, most of those larger property owners probably know pretty well, but I don't want to assume that either. She shakes her head no. Okay, so that's really about the schedule that I wanted to focus on. I'm happy to answer any questions, but the schedule is part of your package. Okay. The other thing that we have that's, you know, pretty exciting and fun is we have the community survey results that was also in your packet.
Yep.
And we got Well, we're now up to 212 responses. We kept the survey open a little bit longer. I think what we'll do is probably close it, sometime this Friday or maybe Monday. And if there's if you know people personally who haven't taken the survey, it's still open. It still could be filled out. But 212 is not a bad response. It's fairly typical. The people that responded, I think the good news is that they're weighted even a little bit more heavily than the total population for people that have kids at home. So we're able to reach, that group, which is hard to get to, otherwise, because they're like busy now putting their kids to bed and getting homework done and things like that. Drinking heavily. I'm talking about my household. But anyway, a good representation. We had just a couple questions about demographics. We weren't trying to pry too much into who the people were. Overwhelming support for natural resource preservation, to a slightly lesser degree farmland preservation.
The question I had on that one was, should we ask the county for some statement to include in our plan as to how the county will defend the deed restrictions that we in the county have put on property? How permanent is that? Or is it going to go away as soon as the village or the city annexes that property? Is it gone?
Yeah.
Or are they going to defend it tooth and nail or whatever? I guess just so somebody has an idea of what they're really doing.
Yeah. Well, I've dealt with that a little bit over on the other side in Springfield, and Chris, we're going to sit down and talk with Pam and other county staff in the next couple months as part of our intergovernmental outreach. So we'll definitely put that on the table. What I've heard over the years is that those deed restrictions may not have a long life after property is annexed to a city or village. But I'll get that. And there are ways to do it through a conservation easement, through a third party holder. I know in Springfield, we've recruited Yahara Pride to be a third party holder on a conservation easement. And that way the likelihood of a restriction surviving annexation goes up. So that's something we can definitely talk about, in the future. And they're using it in part of their TDR program in very strategic locations, like close to Middleton, in areas that they know or fear would otherwise be annexed and the deed restriction, dissolved if they didn't do it that way.
I would think it would be very hard for someone that has already deed restricted their property for us to come and ask them now to sign on to this third party.
You're right. You're right, Chris. They wouldn't. So it's really a going forward sort of thing, more likely than not.
Okay.
Yeah. But we are, Nick is going to talk about this. We are working with the county to get an updated map that I know they started to work with you about a year ago.
One in here.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, but Aaron at the county is working on it, and we've given him some guidance there, and we can certainly talk about that. So, with respect to the survey, we've got some, some support for commercial development in the town, particularly along the Highway 12 corridor and where we wanted to try to focus it. Very mixed feelings about more residential development in the town. Kind of the feeling that I've got mine, now let's close the door so no one else. And that's tied also to the fear and concern people have with growth from the village and particularly the city. So, I think many people view themselves as part of the Cottage Grove community, but not as the Madison community. And so that kind of came across in the survey results there too. A couple more specifics that, came out. We asked them sort of geographic questions about where in the town they might support different forms of development.
Yeah.
I thought it was fairly interesting. It's kind of in line with the map, Nick, would be good. Kind of pretty much in line with the town plan. So if we divided the town into 6 different sectors. Sectors 5 and 6 were the east edge. In general, there was the strongest level of support to keep that natural and open and farmland. Area 4 along end south of us here, it's a feeling that there ought to be a mix of different types of development. To a degree, also in area 3, if we kind of parse off the data, that was the area of strongest support for commercial development, and area 1 was the strongest area for residential development, and that pretty much reflects what's going on there right now. So I didn't see anything real eye-opening there. We had that question that we added at the February meeting about lot size, which was interesting. I think folks have most folks think it's fine the way it is in ag preservation areas and subdivision areas, but there were certainly some comments and some sentiment to bump up the minimums and maximums a little bit.
Increase the lot.
Yeah, so we can talk about that as a part of, as we go forward with this process, as to what you may want to do with that. I admire you guys and holding the line on keeping lot sizes, relatively small, preserving more land. You are one of the stricter towns in the county in that regard.
Well, it's strange because they want natural areas and open space, but they want larger lots.
Yeah, and so part of the discussion has to be, what are the trade-offs? You also heard some, folks say, things are getting better, things are getting worse. Some of the things that are getting better is we got more commercial development and other things close by, but don't let the growth happen.
Yeah.
And it's the growth that makes the commercial development happen. So there is that tension, and we can talk about that, directly in the plan, and even have like little boxes to say, if you want this, you got to have this. They're sort of 2 sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So it's a great point, Chris. Yeah, I didn't see anyone, rejecting the town's lot sizes or a massive sort of, you guys are doing it totally wrong sort of sentiment. So those are the bigger takeaways. I was looking at, we did these preliminary results last week when we had 195 responses. We now have 212. We might get a few more trickling in. I doubt we're going to see some major shift once, with those 25 additional responses. They probably reflect population. Even if they didn't, they don't move the dial all that much. So we will, happy to hear any other comments, but we'll wrap it up, as I said, probably just give it till Monday. Nick will update these survey results. We'll call them final, and then we'll get them posted and, use whatever means we can to get the word out so that folks who participated in the survey can see what the results were. And then Nick worked very hard on the conditions and issues report. This is a working document. It's intended to provide the foundation for the plan. It's not really the plan itself. You might remember in 2015, we broke the plan into 2 volumes, putting all the background information in one. The idea being, let's put all the stuff that kind of matters on a day-to-day basis in a different volume so that we don't have to sift through a lot of background data to get to the good stuff. And so this is the stuff that, is important for us as we plan, but not necessarily thing that you'll bring out at plan commission meetings when people are making development proposals. So Nick, if it's okay with the commission, I'd like to give Nick, up to 10 minutes to just hit, 3, 4, 5 highlights in here of data that we think is going to be real helpful for us as we work on the updating the plan, and then
Okay.
Then we'll just keep these documents open. Happy to take comments tonight or at the next meeting or at the next meeting after that on this document. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Hello?
Hi.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Yeah, so this is the conditions and issues volume draft that I've been working on for some time. I know you guys have printout copies, but feel free to just follow along on the screen. I will be kind of jumping around quite a bit. The first item I want to talk about is on page 25 of the volume. And that is in the land use chapter.
Before you go that far, go to page 11.
Yeah. Sure.
Where you're talking about agricultural resource inventory and background.
All right, let me let my PDF load here. Here we go, page 11. Yeah, here we go, page 11.
The second sentence, farming is also a way of life for many town residents. Well, many, should we put an actual number there? Or do you want to leave it more general? Because I wonder sometimes really, how many farmers do we really have? Can you count them on two hands?
You pretty much can. Yeah, it's
Sure.
kind of- I wouldn't say many is even the right word anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with consolidation of farms and the lower amount of farming that's taking place.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
We can certainly adjust that. And I think actually as a side benefit, this large owner thing might help us. Because we'll be able to pluck the farmers from there pretty quickly. So we might have some data benefit from getting that property owner list.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds great.
That was my only one so far.
Okay, great. So page 25 of your volume, we are in the land use chapter, page 25 and 26. So we added this section here that highlights 7 areas that we've kind of brought in here of where there's different areas between what the land is currently used as, what it's currently zoned as, and what it's currently planned for in the future land use map. So these are just areas that may warrant further investigation, just to see if there are any discrepancies, fix them between what the land is currently used for, what it's currently zoned as, and just ensure that this is exactly what we want it to be currently planned for in the future land use map. So this is something that's new and was not in the previous conditions and issues volume.
So again, as we work on the future land use map, these are areas that we don't necessarily want to change the plan, but I think there are a checklist of things that we want to look at them closely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The second item is just a couple pages further. Here on page, did you say something, Chris?
Map 5. I guess I was confused. I didn't know what the different colors of the dots meant.
Yeah, unfortunately, so this is that map that the county is still working on. So it's a work in progress. They had sent us this kind of image as a screenshot, which unfortunately didn't include the legend. But they were just different types of deed restrictions. Mark, do you remember what the different colors were?
Yeah, the key is eluding me a little bit, but one of the colors is going to represent where the deed restriction restricts future residential development. Another color is restricting future divisions. Another one is a color that restricts the range of land uses, usually commercial land uses in a commercial rezoning. And then I think there might be 1 or 2 others, but I asked the county to kind of group them so that we could, because not all deed restrictions are for the same reason. And I thought, for instance, it's going to be very helpful for us to identify the parcels that don't have any building rights on them yet anymore. So we don't plan those for subdivisions,
right?
Where it wouldn't make any sense for us to do so.
Right.
So yeah, I'll check back in with them. I had them, I got them to agree to do a fair amount of work, but they wanted a little bit more time to make that happen.
Sure.
Right.
So the map will identify those areas. I asked them to actually show the parcels, the outlines of the parcels they apply to, as opposed to just a dot. So that you could see, well, this restriction affects 400 acres and this one only affects
35.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Nick.
Great. So that's the second item. The third item is also in the land use chapter, and that is the next page, page 29. This was in the previous conditions and issues volume, but has since been beefed up quite a bit. Here, figure 5-3 goes over our projected rural residential land use demand. So over the last decade, the town has witnessed about 7 new single-family homes built each year, and that each home occupies about 1.5 acre lot. So we kept that going forward. So for each 5-year period, we have 35 additional dwelling units, so 7 each year, and then another 35 through this next 5-year period, and so on and so forth. These are those acres that are required for those additional dwelling units. Then we also included a flexibility factor, just multiplying that by 2. So this figure, all in all, shows that the town may wish to plan for up to 525 acres of undeveloped land for new housing development, as it updates the future land use map.
So that as we work on a future land use map, it just gives us a sense of scale. That, you know, it's about a section of land if we're looking at demand for the next, you know, what is that, 25 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, it tells us, well, we can't, maybe if we want to accommodate demand, can't plan a little spot of 40 acres, but we don't need to plan the whole half of the town for residential development either.
Right.
The flexibility factor is built in there because, you know, obviously, regardless of whether we color a piece of land yellow or not, residential or not, that doesn't mean the property owner wants to develop it either.
Right.
So I think that the idea of tying this data with property owner wishes that we hopefully will learn more about, and other kind of logical locations for development will be a kind of a key thing. And the same goes with commercial as well.
Exactly. The second half of this section is projected commercial land use demand, which we've seen about 10 acres per year for new or expanded commercial uses, so 50 per 5-year period.
Page 30. 500 acres.
Yeah, so similar number to residential, about up to 500 acres for undeveloped land for new commercial development with the flexibility factor.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any questions or anything before we head to the fourth item? Okay, the next item is in the next chapter, chapter 6, transportation, on page 34 and 35. So we briefly touched base on it earlier today, but this just brings in additional information about the US Highway 1218 freeway conversion study, specifically the improvement of US Highway 1218 and the County Highway AB intersection to a full interchange, and including that map that we got from the DOT, which is shown here as map 6.
That looks a little different than.
That's the newest one.
Yeah, this we received from them. This map is dated February 2nd, 2021.
We got this map from Tom Kaprowski with DOT when we asked him, you know, a month ago or so, Nick?
About that, yeah, maybe a few weeks, 3 weeks ago.
I got this one this week.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Keeps evolving.
Nick?
4/6/21. So we'll keep it updated as things go. I mean, things are obviously evolving quickly.
Nick,
Right.
can you go back to page 34?
You bet.
that very last paragraph where it starts, second line up, the end result would be interchanges at county highways A, B, and N. N already has an interchange.
Correct, yes.
You could just, yeah, we could just say a new interchange at County Highway
At
AB.
County Highway AB, yep,
Yeah, that might be a little clearer. Yeah.
that sounds good. Great. Okay, the last item is all the way towards the end of the conditions and issues volume on page 55. And this is in chapter 9, intergovernmental cooperation. So quite a bit has been updated in this chapter since 2015 in the last conditions and issues volume, particularly with the, go ahead, Chris.
You gotta go back to page 45.
Oh, sure. Page 45.
Like you're at the Supreme Court and the court takes you off your argument.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a stress test.
First sentence in fire protection. Cottage Grove Volunteer Fire Department serves the town and village of Cottage Grove and portions of the town of Pleasant Springs.
Yep.
That's right.
Where did what was? All right, I underlined the wrong one. It's on the next page. Emergency medical service.
Yeah.
It's Deer Grove District formed in 78, serves over 13,000 people in the town and village of Cottage Grove, the town/village of Deerfield, and portions of Pleasant Springs.
Okay, so both Deerfields are part of the EMF.
EMF, yeah.
Got it, okay. Perfect.
Sorry.
No, no worries, this is great. Of Deerfield, perfect.
Is McCarthy Park located in the village of Cottage Grove?
No, it's still out yet.
On page 49, you have McCarthy Park being in the village, north of the town. It's in the town of South Prairie, not in the village of Cottage Grove. Where's Door Creek Park?
I've never heard of that one.
Door Creek Park?
The city park?
Is that a city park?
I think that's just west in the city of Madison.
Well,
where is it actually at?
It's I think it's close to those new apartments.
Oh, that's that area west of Voight's that they were talking about.
Oh, off of Milwaukee Street there?
Yeah,
Off
right.
Milwaukee Street?
Door Creek National Park, it's so big.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a regional park for.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Really? It's a park.
Oh.
They used to call it Elver Park, Elver National Park.
It's you know, it's like the Elver Park of the east side, is how they envision it.
because you want to expand hiking cross-country ski trails to Door Creek Park, but I couldn't think where the hell it was.
We'll try to, Nick, we can just sort of pin it down a little bit better.
Yeah,
and
that sounds good.
Yeah, McCarthy, it looks like we had some notion that it was straddling the boundary of Village of Cottage Grove and Town of Sun Prairie, but
It's still all in the city of Madison.
Well, you know
Door
what?
Creek Park is city of Madison.
You know when they annexed up
north of
N?
the interstate.
Yeah.
Because McCarthy comes all the way over to N now, so maybe that piece that they added to McCarthy that touches N might be in the village.
We'll confirm. Yeah.
Depends on how that annexation. 'cause
I didn't know that they added more land to McCarthy.
Yeah, McCarthy they don't really use it, but they added, it goes all the way over to N now, just like 140 or something. So maybe
Okay.
that could be.
We'll confirm and we'll get a location, a clear location for those places.
Yeah, it sounds great. Perfect. All right, moving on to page 55 of your volume. is the Intergovernmental Cooperation Chapter. This has been updated quite a bit. So in 2017, the City of Madison prepared the Yahara Hills Neighborhood Plan, which guides future growth and development of a new neighborhood on the city's southeast side. I have incorporated another very large map, which is the city's future land use map. As it loads here.
Straddles 12 and 18.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so here I have it. Once it fully loads, there we go. Here I have it outlined in this black hashed line. That's the Yahara Hills Neighborhood Plan. So anything west of my cursor here, west of County Highway AB, is in the city of Madison or town of Burke, which will become the city of Madison.
Blooming Grove.
Blooming Grove, correct. Blooming Grove. Burke is further north. Blooming Grove, and then anything east is town of Cottage Grove. So the Yahara Hills Neighborhood Plan envisions some housing and streets over here in the city of Madison, town of Blooming Grove portion, and then here near the US Highway 1218 and County Highway AB envisions more of an employment commercial district. These yellow kind of speckled with black areas are planned neighborhood areas, but the city hasn't determined specific land uses or street patterns like they have west of County AB.
And, we had a chance to get, for Chris and Kim to sort of debrief on some of the discussions you've had with the city of Madison. So we're aware that, we thought it would be very bad form to talk about that in this volume. So you might see talk of that there might be discussions ongoing, but none of the substance. So as that evolves, so hopefully over the course of the next few months, this chapter can evolve.
We can put the landfill behind us and move on to that.
No, there you go. One big issue at a time.
Yeah.
Then there were just a few other updates, one with the village of Cottage Grove in the same chapter on page 58. The village amended its comprehensive plan in 2020. This includes a blurb just showing differences in the village's future land use map and map 14 and how it differs from what the town's current future land use map is. And then the last update is we now incorporated the village of McFarland into this chapter as well. They weren't in there previously, but as we know, in 2019, the village annexed about 120 acres or so of town land northeast of Interstate 3990.
So, obviously you've got ongoing discussions with Madison. I've got contacts and good connections with the planners from McFarland and Village of Cottage Grove. I'm going to reach out to them over the course of the next couple of months just to talk broadly about plans and opportunities. I know you've had trouble getting off go with talking with the village about any kind of boundary agreement. So I appreciate that. But to the extent that we can, on a staff level, make some, at least learn more and see where the opportunities are for collaboration that might help. I'm not overly optimistic, but it never hurts to talk.
What, just out of curiosity, because of the fact until McFarland took that acreage to the south, we've not had any interaction with them. What are they like, from your opinion, generally as a village like to deal with on different things?
Yeah, well, full disclosure, I worked on the current comp plan for McFarland. And by the way, it had no mention of annexing into the town of Cottage Grove. It still doesn't. So I can say that they are, I think relatively easy to work with. I don't think they would be averse to cutting a boundary agreement with you guys. My initial impression is that the reason for the annexation was to provide some spots potentially for an athletic complex that they're contemplating. And there's a school district owns some land out there. So I think the McFarland School District, as you might know, extends all the way up into that Madison area that Nick had up on screen. So there could be a lot of City of Madison kids that are in the future that are in the McFarland schools. And so I think there's a lot of long range planning that they're undertaking for why that location. But I'll reach out to them when I talk to their community development director, Andrew, to kind of feel them out as to a little bit more what they're up to and whether they would be amenable to talking about a simple boundary agreement with the town. Yeah, it's hard enough for you guys to deal with two fronts to fight a 3-front war is
right. Asking too much.
Asking too much. It's more than any other town in the county has to deal with, that's for sure.
On the Dane County Farmland Preservation Map Plan?
Yeah.
Are the townships that are entirely in brown, are those the ones that seceded from Dane County zoning?
Yeah, yes.
It could be the one above Sun Prairie and the one out west.
Not necessarily. They're the towns that don't have any farmland preservation. So the town of Springdale is the one over here. I don't know whether they're in or out of farmland preservation or out of county zoning, but they don't have a preservation.
I don't think
zoning.
they're out of county zoning.
Yeah, and conversely, I know the town of Barry, which is right here, is not in county zoning, nor is Springfield for that matter. But they still
Springfield's
have,
out, yeah.
but they still have farmland preservation. So it's not really it doesn't really correlate one to the other.
Yeah, and Bristol's out also.
Yep. So it really over the years has been a decision, town by town decision as to whether to participate in the farmland preservation program or not. Most of the towns have, but a handful have not. Nick, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
No, I think that was it.
So the idea with what we've done to try to beef up this chapter is to provide us with good information to help us land use plan a little bit better. And so that's what I wanted Nick to kind of focus on. And so when we get to, learning a little bit more about property owner wishes, and now we have this information and community desires through the survey, we kind of, over the course of the summer, put them all in one stew and then come up with a land use plan that hopefully balances interests the best we can.
Yeah, on page 7, Nick, you have the Cottage Grove population estimates. Is there a way we can get some data in here that this is surface, so to speak, but what the village has?
Oh, village population?
Yeah.
And growth and things like that?
Right, because that's going to help dictate some of their needs that attack us.
Yeah, so Nick, he's even talking about village population trends and then what they might project. Either the state might project for them or they might project for themselves if it's different.
Sure.
And on that same line, I think it would be good information when the public is involved here, because of the fact I'm sure very few, if any of them, have any idea just how hungry the village is for additional land and how badly they're trying to develop and stuff, that it might just open the eyes a little bit more of town residents.
Yeah, so we can also kind of share, Nick, and we can work with Dan, our mapper, to kind of track. I think we talked about that a little bit already, the amount of land that the town has lost. And aside from that land that from McFarland, 100% of that has been to the village of Cottage Grove. In other words, the city of Madison has an annexed an inch of the town of Cottage Grove.
Not true. Keep your fingers
When
crossed.
they do, they don't take big swaths.
Absolutely, I know it. It's important to be talking with them, otherwise you'll be the next Burke or Booming. Well, thanks for your time tonight. I think we've cut through as much as is reasonable, given the hour. And we'll revisit the vision statement some other time, but.
Okay. Sounds good.
We'll look forward to setting a date to talking with you again. maybe about 7 weeks time, where we'll invite folks in.
Okay. Well, good to see it so far.
Good. Well, I feel like I've got my feet on my ground a lot better than I did the first time around with you all, so I think we're gonna have an even better.
Oh, that's because of Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you all.
You bet.
Motion by Anders for adjournment,
Second.
second by Mule. Before we adjourn though, I talked to Phil about continuing on plan commissioner or not. I did find someone that was willing to, so I think tonight is your last night that you have to be here.
Have a beer tonight. Darn.
And your
No, I think
fourth
the last
Wednesday-
guy buys.
Your fourth Wednesdays are now free, and I just want to thank you for the time and effort that you've given us all these years. Because, God, it's hard to find people that are interested. So with adjournment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank God we're done.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.